Well, coronavirus will be a defining moment for generations to come. Generation Z, in particular, that's roughly 90 million Americans who were born after 1997, might really be impacted the most. In her latest piece for Axios, Stef Kight spoke with several experts and actually lays out how this pandemic could shape that group's future outlook. Steph joins me now from Arlington, Virginia. So, Steph, it's interesting because experts have really looked at and observed the sort of psychological, health, and economic issues of crises like 9/11, the Great Recession, the AIDS epidemic. But in your reporting, you say that this particular coronavirus situation is very different. How?
It is incredibly different. And one of the things that is really defining this particular moment for Generation Z is the fact that it's really impacting everyone all over the US. You have people who will see the health impacts on family members and friends who end up coming down with the coronavirus. And then there are also people who are being impacted just in their day to day activities, not being able to go to school like they used to be able to, not being able to take the internship they were planning to work in, not being able to get the job that they were planning to take right out of school. These are things that are just everyday normal activities that in the past with other emergencies and other catastrophes hasn't really been impacted. Even with 9/11, of course, there was a devastating impact on New York, but when it came to the day-to-day activities of people in many parts of the country, especially with younger people, there wasn't that same impact that we're seeing right now.
When you've got isolation, you've got fear, you've got the uncertainty, this all impacts mental health for everyone. And already Generation Z is more likely to report poor mental health. This is according to the American Psychological Association. What else can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that was something that a lot of the experts that I spoke to were really concerned about. It is well known that Generation Z is already extremely stressed out. They have high levels of anxiety. They already struggle with depression, and even suicide rates among that age group have been rising over the past several years. And so, then to put on top of that, this isolation, not being able to say goodbye to friends from school before the summer and not knowing when you might see them, could make these trends even worse. And so that's something to definitely be aware of and be talking to young people in your lives about, and making sure that their mental health is in a good state, especially as we're all struggling through this period.
And we know economically this pandemic could have really lasting implications. Many students were looking to graduate in what just a few months ago was a really strong economy with plenty of jobs. That's changed in just a short period. So what about those young people who really relied on the service sector to make ends meet and to eventually help pay off their loans?
Yeah, there are both short term and long term economic impacts on this generation. First of all, as you pointed out, a lot of them are working in the service industry. Almost half of the teenage workers in the workforce today are working in restaurants and hotels and similar service areas. And so they're more likely to be out of work right now, not being able to start building up their finances, which could put them behind when this does let up. And then longer term, you can just look what happened with the millennials during the Great Recession. Lots of studies have pointed to the fact that millennials who graduated into the recession were impacted for years down the line, and it takes sometimes a decade to earn back what you would have been making if you had graduated at a better economic time. And so a lot of the experts I talked to said that it doesn't look great now for Generation Z, these students who are now graduating into this economy, where before they thought they had really great prospects.
That's something really hard to stomach. We will continue to watch this. Steph Kite, great reporting. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.